In this video, I'm going to test a range of values using logical operators. So I just have an integer score declared. I ask the user to enter the score, and then I'm going to check to see if it's a valid score, if it's between 0 and 100. And we do that usually when you're testing inside of a range, you want to use the AND operator, and when you're testing for outside of a range, you want to use the OR operator. So I'll show you the syntax here. Okay, so the user is going to enter a test score. Let's say they enter 90. If 90 is greater than or equal to 0, that's true. And 90 is less than or equal to 100, that's true. Now you'll have true and true, which evaluates to true, and it should see out valid test score. So let's just try that. Okay. And let's try something that's not valid. So let's run it, put 111, and it says invalid test score. So what happened with 111, this is true and this is false. 111 less than or equal to 100 is false. So then you have true and false. The whole thing evaluates to false, and it'll output invalid test score. It's very important to note in C++, you cannot uh, do something like this, like you can do in a math class. Let me just think. That does not work, because what you're doing is, let's say you pick a score of 111. This gets evaluated first. 0 less than or equal to 111 is true, and then you have true less than or equal to 100. True is represented by a 1, so 1 less than or equal to 100 is true, and it would actually return true, so that is a problem. Okay, that does not work. You have to do it as shown here. All right. The other thing that's important is, let's say the user entered -3, for instance. When we evaluate this, -3 greater than or equal to 0 is false. And anytime you have false followed by the AND operator, it performs what's called short circuit evaluation. Okay? Because when you have false and true, it evaluates to false. And when you have false and false, it evaluates to false. Again, this is called short circuit evaluation. Okay. So it won't even look at this part of the expression. This is false, and then it just says, okay, this whole thing's going to be false, and I'm just going to go into my else statement. Okay. So we can use the AND operator to check that things are inside of a valid range. We can use the OR operator to see if they're outside of a valid range. So let's just check this. If the score is less than 0 or the score is greater than 100, then we have an invalid test score. Else, I'll fix my variable name in a minute. We have a valid test score. So if you were testing test scores, you could do it either way you want. You could check inside the range, outside the range. But this just shows you that the OR operator will test to see if something is outside. So let's say, if we put in -3, this would be true, or, and that's another example of short circuit evaluation. Anytime you have true or, right, that's short circuit. Because true is true and true or false is true. So I would have true, it would say invalid test score. If I put in 111, this would be false or true, and false or true evaluates to true. So it'll say invalid test score. So I'll just run this one last time, or two last times. So I'll put in 85. They should both say valid test score. I'll run it again, and I'll put in 111. Oh, even bigger. And it says invalid test score. Okay. So those are two ways to check ranges of values.